Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Straight Fire Picks. Best bets for college football, Week 5, on Friday, October 1st through Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. My name is Steve, and we're going to have 4 picks here for you for this 2-day slate of college football that I think are great value bets. As always, just want to thank you all for your continued support in the channel. If you are new to the channel here today, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Always appreciate that. Really helps us grow this channel. Trying to reach 650 subscribers here by the end of the week, so appreciate your help out with that. We have a special live stream once again coming up this Monday night starting at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be for the football game between the Chargers and the Raiders in the NFL. We're going to have game audio and a watch party going on, so hoping to catch you all at that. Without further ado, we normally go over our comment cappers here. It's something new that we've started here on the channel. I don't have any picks from last week that were in the comment section that were winners, so we'll just get right into our results for this week, which they were pretty good. We went 3-1, so we had a good run there last week in college football. We had LSU minus 2.5 versus Mississippi State. Was able to just cover this one. Should have been a no sweat bet, but LSU allowed a couple late touchdowns and made it interesting on us, but what can you do? We had Notre Dame plus 5.5 versus Wisconsin. That one cashed very easily. Notre Dame won the game by 28, which it took the money line, but what can you do? We'll take the win. We had the Arkansas Razorbacks money line versus Texas A&M, and this one cashed as well fairly easily too. Arkansas really played well, and that really set our week for a very profitable week. That was a 2-1 hit there on Arkansas. About plus 200. I got in at plus 186, so it all depends on where you got in. And then we had the under 47.5 points in the Clemson-NC State game. This one was a little sad. We actually should have gone 4-0. There was 28 points after 60 minutes of football. The game went to overtime, tied at 14. There was 20 points scored in overtime. So that is actually how we missed our 4-0, which is kind of sad. But what can you do? We move on from that. We got that 3-1, so feeling good about that. But we're going to get that 4-0 this week, so let's get after it. Getting right into our picks. At number 1, we're going with the Iowa Hawkeyes minus 3.5 spread versus the Maryland Terrapins at plus 102 odds. So obviously I love the plus odds here, and you're talking about the 5th-ranked team in the nation with an NFL defense going in to play a Maryland team that doesn't have a lot of experience in big games. That's just a fact. There are obviously a lot of talent there for Maryland, but like I said, they don't have the big game experience at this point, and they're gonna get some here. Iowa already has marquee wins over Indiana and Iowa State, games in which they both dominated really, pretty much defensively, made Indiana look really bad. They were both ranked when they played them, and Iowa took them both to school. Same thing with Iowa State on the road as well. They've allowed just 44 points through 4 games this season. That's 11 points per game. That's absolutely incredible. They're 13th in total defense as far as yards per game at 271, which is, again, fantastic. And as far as for Maryland, yeah, they have Talia Tagovailoa. I could barely pronounce his name. And obviously he's played great. You know, he's got one of the higher QB rates in all the nation in college football. But they also have a couple narrow wins over West Virginia and Illinois, teams that are okay, but teams that they escaped. Especially the Illinois game is the one I looked at, where Illinois is not that good yet. And I know a win's a win, but you're playing a different level of team here. You're gonna have to really be on your P's and Q's to have any shot versus Iowa. Like I said, this NFL level defense. They got 2 corners that are destined for the NFL: Riley Moss and Matt Hankins. Both rank inside the top 10 as far as the coverage grade by ProFootballFocus.com. So they're obviously very good in that. They don't give up any explosive plays. They really don't. It's crazy. You're going to really have to grind it out, and this is going to be hard, I think, for Maryland to do. And Maryland also is very poor against the run. They have problems up front with the defensive line, so they're going to struggle to stop the Iowa run game, which is pretty solid behind Goodson. I know the numbers aren't really there yet, but I think Goodson could have a breakout game here against Maryland. So take it there for your number 1 pick. Iowa Hawkeyes minus 3.5 spread versus the Maryland Terrapins at plus 102 odds. Okay, and at number 2, we are rolling with the Michigan Wolverines money line versus the Wisconsin Badgers at plus 110 odds. So I still don't understand why Wisconsin gets so much credit and so much respect as far as with the odds makers. It doesn't make any sense. Last week I attacked them with Notre Dame, and you saw how that went. Notre Dame won by 4 touchdowns. In week 1, this wasn't an official pick on stream, but I took Penn State to beat Wisconsin, and Penn State beat Wisconsin. Last year, I had Indiana beating Wisconsin. It was a fun bet, but I really thought it could happen. It was a plus 500 odds Indiana to beat Wisconsin in Wisconsin. I took Indiana, and Indiana won. So I'm not understanding why Wisconsin continues to get respect and credit. We got plus odds here for Michigan. Michigan coming in with one of the nation's top defenses so far this year. They have one of the nation's top running games. They've been absolutely phenomenal here to start the season. Now, they didn't look absolutely phenomenal last week when they played Rutgers. They won by 7, and they kind of let up there in the second half. But overall, Michigan's defense has given up 47 points through 4 games. That's phenomenal. I keep saying phenomenal. That's terrific. And their rushing offense is 5th in the nation at 290 yards per game. So they can control the game on the ground, and they play hard defense, which is obviously what Jim Harbaugh loves to do. And they don't have a tough, as far as for their defense, they don't have a tough matchup here with Wisconsin at all. Graham Mertz, the Wisconsin quarterback, 40 out of 78. That's barely 50%. 425 yards in 2 games, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions in 2 games versus top 25 teams. He's absolutely horrible this year. They literally have no passing game. No reliable passing game at all. On the other side, Michigan has not turned the football over at all as far as through the air with interceptions. 0 interceptions on the air for Michigan, so you'd love to see that. They're not shooting themselves in the foot. Graham Mertz is just not good. It's atrocious. And right now, I'm very comfortable betting against Wisconsin. I really am. My last 3, I'm 3-0 versus Wisconsin, so let's make that 4-0. Take it right there, number 2 pick. Michigan money line versus the Wisconsin Badgers at plus 110 odds. Okay, and at number 3, we got the Arkansas Razorbacks plus 18.5 spread versus the Georgia Bulldogs at minus 110 odds. Plus 18.5. Are you kidding me? For a team like this, I recognize how good Georgia is. I really do. They're one of the they're obviously the best team in the nation right now. They have the top defense. You can go on all day about Georgia. We all know about Georgia. Everybody does, right? But when am I going to start paying some respect to this Arkansas team? I'm not calling Arkansas money line here. I'm saying 18.5 points. What are we talking about here? We're talking about Arkansas 12th in defense in the nation right now, 265 yards per game. We're talking about Arkansas 2 top 25 wins over Texas and Texas A&M. And mind you, they looked very good in both wins. They weren't really even close games. If you watch the game start to finish, they controlled those games from start to finish as well. Arkansas is number 7 in the nation also at 261 yards per game on the ground. So they can control the game on the ground, and they play hard defense. So that's a recipe right there for keeping a game close, right? If you have a team that does nothing but they love to run the football, they play hard defense. Well, what do you expect then? You expect the game to be within about 10 to 20 points, 10 to 14 points at the very, very most. So 18.5. Love you, Georgia, but you're not covering 18.5 versus this Arkansas team. I don't think so. So take it right there for your number 3 pick. Arkansas Razorbacks plus 18.5 spread versus the Georgia Bulldogs at minus 110 odds. Okay, and finally at number 4, we're going with the Texas Longhorns minus 5.5 spread versus the TCU Horned Frogs at minus 108 odds. So what I love here is obviously Steve Sarkisian coming in here to Texas, bringing a new look offense, and they look terrific so far to start the season, right? 43 points per game. That's tied for 7th in the nation in scoring offense, so we like that. Their only loss coming to Arkansas. We just got done talking about Arkansas and how solid that they've been. But that was their only loss, and it's an SEC team. We know how strong the SEC is. TCU on the other side, 80th ranked defense in yards per game. That's not going to get it done against Texas at all. And, I just don't think TCU can match Texas score for score. They're going to see, obviously, a high-scoring game here. And just like last week, Texas put up 70 on Texas Tech, 70 to 35. So they're just not going to be able to keep pace, I think, with Texas. And, that -5.5 spread should be pretty easy to cover here for Texas on the road. Now, the one thing you got to consider, TCU has had a level of sustained success here against Texas in years past. 6 of the last 7 years, TCU has gotten wins over Texas. So we are definitely breaking the trend on that. But I really believe Texas gets it done here. I think, it may be somewhat of a close game, but I think Texas is definitely going to be able to cover this 5.5 spread. So take it there for your number 4 pick. Texas Longhorns -5.5 spread versus TCU at -108 odds. Okay, that's going to do it for our picks. If you enjoyed the content, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Always appreciate that. Our goal, like I said, is to get 650 subscribers here by the end of the week. So appreciate your help out with that. And again, we have that special live stream coming up on Monday Night Football starting at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be for the game between the Raiders and Chargers. So hope to catch you all at that. And be sure to drop me a pick down below, your favorite play for this weekend in college football. And if it hits, we will give you a shout out on the stream for our Comic Cappers section. Try to put your odds with that as well. So put your pick with your odds. So I know how to include that when I give it a shout out. Other than that, it's going to do it for me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. We will catch you next time. Peace out.